Good evening. It is good to see you tonight on this 26th day of January 2023. You are watching EBN Weekend Edition. Thank you for making company and for choosing EBN TV to inform you tonight. It is quite a momentous day from the corridors of courts after 2 development projects as well as 1 deployment to Haiti under the Kenya Kwanza government has been banned or declared unconstitutional. Well, all that detail coming up in just a bit. However, let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight. Back to the drawing board. Court of Appeal throws out housing levy, declares it unconstitutional. Judgment on the Monica Kimani murder case postponed after former TV anchor Jackie Maribe fails to appear in court. 12-year-old abducted in Gikomba at knife point, rescued in Kitui by police officers. Be part of this broadcast. Watch us across our social media platforms on EBN TV, as well as live on our website at www.ebntv.co.ke. You're in safe pair of hands. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. EBN Weekend Edition kicks off right now. From the corridors of courts, the government has suffered a major setback after the Court of Appeal declined to suspend orders barring the state from deducting housing levy from Kenyans. The housing levy therefore remains suspended as declared by the High Court. This is a major win for Kenyans who have majorly faulted the government for excessive taxes imposed on them. However, President William Ruto has vouched to proceed with the housing plan regardless of court orders. Consolata Chibalonza reports.
The Court of Appeal on Friday dealt the government of President William Ruto a huge blow after it stayed the orders of the High Court that suspended the implementation of the housing levy, declaring it unconstitutional. The ruling was to determine 4 consolidated applications, namely numbers E577 of 2023, E581 of 2023, E585 of 2023, and E596 of 2023, all arising from the judgment and decree of the High Court of Kenya at Nairobi, delivered on the 28th of November 2023. The petition in the Court of Appeal was filed by the CS for National Treasury and Planning and others against Senator Okiya Mumtata and others. According to the ruling delivered by Justices Lydia Achode, John Mativo, and Mwaniki Gashoka, further plunged the relationship between the executive and the judiciary, as it stated the housing levy fund that has been deducted from payslips was established without a legal framework. It also ended the deduction of the charges after the window granted to the government to collect the money ended on January 26th. The court ruled on grounds of whether the appeals were arguable on public interest and whether or not the government can backdate the taxes, among others. Housing levy was also found to have targeted a section of Kenyans, only those with payslips, a process which the court argued was unjust. On whether or not the court was correct in concluding that the impacted sections are unconstitutional is not an idle ground. According to the court documents seen by EBN TV, the court ruled that they have no hesitation in finding that all these grounds are arguable and worth consideration by the appellate court. The court also declared that the argument that the government risks being sued for breach of contracts signed in its efforts to implement the affordable housing project fails because not a single contract was placed before the courts to support this assertion. The government in its appeal had argued that some government departments may shut down and jobs will be lost, with the court declaring that the details of the alleged jobs were never provided. Regarding the plea that it is in public interest that the court can grant the stay sought, the ultimate question is whether public interest favors staying the impugned decision and or suspending the declaration of invalidity. The judges further stating that public interest must conform with the Constitution. The Housing Fund levy, which was anchored in the Finance Bill 2023, required a contribution of 1.5% of the employees' earnings to the fund, with the employers required to match an equal amount.
Na mimi nataka nimuongeleshe rais wetu moja kwa moja kwamba aheshimu uamuzi wa mahakama. Kuhusu affordable housing, mahakama ilishasema kwamba ilishaamua kwamba isimame kidogo tupate mwongozo. Na nataka niseme kwamba hii maneno ya affordable housing hautaingia kwa nyumba kama una chakula.
Naweza sema Orezo tunakupenda na si mimi tunakuchagua, tutaki kukataa. Lakini venye imefikia saa hii, maisha ya saa hii, kama naongea kwa niaba ya mayouth, ukinicheki mimi ni kijana mdogo, imagine sina any.
Nobody is above the law. Hata kama ni president is under the law. So kama sheria inataka kufuatwa na mahakama, mimi am supporting the judiciary.
President William Samoei Ruto has insisted that the plan to ensure all Kenyans have affordable and decent housing will go on. Speaking in Kangeta Market in Igembe, Ruto said the government is already creating a law that will guide his housing project. He insisted that the court should have allowed them to complete creating the law.
Ati kuzuia hii mpango ya housing, I want to tell them there is no greater public interest than the employment of millions of citizens. Nataka niwaulize watu wa Meru, si hawa vijana ni vijana wetu? Si tumewasomesha? Tuwapangie ajira, tusiwapangie? Housing hii mnataka iendelee ama tusimamishe? Iendelee.
Consolata Chibalonza, EBN TV.
Still on that regard, the Federation of Kenya Employers, FKE, has issued employers instructions not to deduct the housing fund levy from employees' salaries unless the Court of Appeal rules otherwise after the hearing of the substantive appeal, or should the government challenge the decision at the Supreme Court. The Federation states that it will continue to monitor any developments on the matter. And the Court of Appeal, in its ruling on Friday, noted that the levy was introduced without a legal framework, further indicating the decision was based on public interest. Now, still at the corridors of courts, the High Court has declared the planned deployment of Kenyan police officers to the Caribbean nation of Haiti as illegal. In a ruling delivered on Friday, Justice Chacha Mwita said the National Security Council has no mandate to deploy police officers to another country. According to the ruling that stated, and I quote, any decision by any state organ or state officer to deploy police officers to Haiti contravenes the Constitution and the law and is therefore unconstitutional, illegal, and invalid. An order was hereby issued prohibiting deployment of police officers to Haiti or any other country. The National Security Council in October last year petitioned Parliament to approve the deployment of Kenyan police officers on a UN-backed security mission to war-torn Haiti. The National Assembly has since approved the deployment, and the government, through the Office of the Government Spokesperson, has vowed to challenge the decision at the Court of Appeal.
The manner currently intended for deployment of police officers is unconstitutional, null and void. The court has emphasized that if any deployment is to happen, then it has to respect Section 107, 108 and 109 of the National Police Service Act. The original intention went through the National Security Council. The court has said that the National Security Council cannot deploy police officers. The National Security, it has to respect Section 107, 108, and 109, which requires that we have an agreement, a reciprocal agreement with Haiti. We have to have that gazetted, and then the request has to go to Parliament for approval.
The power of the council, they could deploy outside Kenya. Otherwise, there is every reason why when we were doing the constitution, writing this constitution, we renamed it from a police force to a police service. And in fact, it's a government parastatal called KIPRA that actually undertook a detailed investigation on why we must change the name of the police force before the new constitution to a police service so that it can serve you. And you know, I like to give factual examples. I come from a place called Capedo. Maybe many of you have heard about Capedo. It's a battleground. You know, people being killed every other day. There is no enough police service there. So really, what wisdom could possibly have driven President William Ruto to make that roadside declaration that Kenya police, who are very inadequate in our own country, could be deployed to another country, to a gangster, to a gangland, basically. So I think I'm very happy that the judge has outlawed that declaration. He has also clearly stated that, processes must be followed.
Now, the High Court has once again postponed delivery of judgment in the case where Joseph Irungu, alias Joey, and former TV anchor Jackie Maribe are charged with the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani. Justice Grace Nzioka said on Friday that she will deliver the verdict by March 15, 2023. The first accused person, Joshua Irungu, also known as Joey, was in court for delivery of the verdict, while the second accused person, journalist Jackie Maribe, was reported ill. The court was told that she was on her way to hospital. While postponing the delivery, Justice Nzioka asked the state to provide medical evidence on the reason for absence of the second accused person, Maribe. The judgment was initially set to be issued on October 6, 2023, but was deferred after Lady Justice Grace Nzioka was reported to be ill.
Made by the other parties, it does appear that none of the parties has any serious objection to the adjournment of this matter today, and that both the defense and in particular the first accused, the victim's family and the prosecution are willing to accommodate the second accused's counsel's application for adjournment. I want to confirm to the parties that the judgment is ready, and I came to read the judgment. I have my robes, realizing that I may not be reading my judgment, so I didn't robe. But when I came with the judgment, and the judgment is ready. I will allow the adjournment, but make two observations. And also, Mr. Katwa Kigen, you made a statement to the effect that the second accused person has never adjourned this matter from the time it started. May I let you know that this is a judgment I am very well seized of the facts. I had over 2,000 handwritten pages, and I had over 500 typed proceedings, and I have read them from page 1 to page 500. And I want you to go and check the correctness of your statement, because I can tell you from where I sit without those proceedings, there is even a time your client traveled to Uganda. Does anyone remember? And sought for time. And there's also a time she was unwell. We are not condemning her, but I needed to correct that. That is not correct that from the time this case started in 2018, it has never been adjourned because of unavailability of the second accused person.
Teresia Dominic, a suspected abductor of a 12-year-old girl, is arrested in Kitui in an operation led by former Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko and DCI officers from Nairobi. The 12-year-old girl, Joy Mudhoni, was abducted at Gikomba by an unknown woman pretending to be a house help in search of a job. Former Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko offered a reward of 300,000 shillings for anyone who would help him and DCI officers trace the young girl. Sonko received a phone call from a source in Kiangulu Hills in Kitui and headed there with DCI officers from Nairobi. Teresia Dominic, who is the main suspect, was arrested, and Sonko rewarded the whistle blower. Sonko as well thanked DCI officers and Nairobi regional headquarters of the area and the OCS as well for conducting the operation that led to the tracing of the young girl.
Nataka kushukuru Mungu ni kwa sababu ya marafiki, watu, social media, watu wote waliosikia ya kwamba Joy Mudhoni amepotea, kaweza kushirikiana, kuomba, kumtafuta, na siku ya leo asubuhi nikaweza kupigiwa simu na mama mmoja Akaniuliza kwa nini Joy hayuko shule. Nikamuuliza kwani umepata Joy? Akaniambia niko hapa Kitui na nimeona Joy Muthoni.
Nashukuru siku ya leo ni kwa sababu Joy Muthoni amepatikana. Pia nashukuru ni kwa sababu kuna mama jirani ambapo mahali walikuwa anakaa karibu ndio aliona mtoto akizunguka akirunda hapo na hajaenda shule. Akajiuliza kwa akili yake, huyu mtoto anafaa kuwa shule na sasa anafanya nini?
Sasa siku ya leo asubuhi kitu kama saa 3:15 niliona msichana anaitwa Triza akakuja na katoto kengine kandoko. Nikamuulizia, mimi kama mzazi nilimuulizia umetoa kwa katoto kandoko wapi na ni mtoto wa shule. Akanielezea, tukaongea na mama mtoto huyo Joy. Alafu mama akaniambia nikae na mtoto andi atoke Nairobi akakuja. Na hivyo ndivyo nimefanya. Mtoto ameunganika na wazazi wake.
So I posted the story kwa Twitter kila mahali na tukasema pia other parents wakue careful because whatever has happened to Joy can happen to any other child anywhere in the country.
The Cabinet Secretary, Eliud Owalo, has attributed the late Dickens Wasonga as a highly profiled journalist who was determined in the field of journalism. Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer David Omoyo has also expressed his deepest condolences to the family and the media fraternity. Dickens Wasonga was involved in a grisly road accident in Kisumu at Mamboleo flyover Friday morning. Until his sudden demise, Wasonga was a star newspaper journalist based in Kisumu. Wasonga was also the current chairperson of the Kisumu Journalists Network after resuming the office barely 2 months after elections held in December in 2023. His colleagues have also expressed their disbelief of his death, maintaining that Wasonga was a team player, a leader, and a determined journalist.
So today is a very sad day for us as a ministry and even an industry, because we have lost a friend, someone whom I spoke to last night. And it's unbelievable that by this morning I got the message that he has passed on. So I want to take this opportunity to pass my message of condolences to the family, the entire media fraternity, and his friends and relatives within Kisumu and beyond. Dickens was a very easygoing person, a team player. He was very forthright, very cooperative, and he exhibited a lot of professionalism.
Dickens was the chairperson of the Kisumu Journalists Network. Actually, he had booked an appointment to come to our offices on Tuesday to come and introduce the new office holders. So we send our condolences to the media fraternity and wish the family courage during this difficult time. We will try our best to support the family and all the members of the local journalism fraternity during this difficult time.
And we as journalists and as KJN members, and I'm the vice chair, we are very sad. We are sad. And may his soul rest in peace.
We received the information this morning, and it was shocking to me because we are losing, I'm losing a friend, village mate, and also my successor as the chairman of the Kisumu Journalists Network. Dickens, we know him as a confident and somebody who doesn't mince his words when he's telling you the truth.
Indeed, what a sad day for the media fraternity, and we do condole with the families and friends, and the industry has lost a great one. Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, through the Executive Secretary in Kisumu County, Zablon Awange, have dismissed the online speculations that the suspect, Joab Otieno, lost his life while receiving treatment at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. Speaking to the press, Zablon confirmed that the suspect, who is accused of murder, is alive and still receiving treatment at the hospital, and that speculations are just to interfere with the case. Kisumu County KUPPET has noted with concern increased gender-based violence meted on teachers, and they have demanded that police take action against perpetrators of these vices. On the same note, a group of teachers from Kisumu County have condemned the act and the rate at which teachers are losing their lives due to domestic issues and called for speedy investigations into the matter and the suspects be brought to book.
Last year we had a teacher at Thudiboro, Masidache, who was brutally murdered by her husband. This week, January 22nd, morning of 22nd, a teacher at Obuolo, Rigid Amondi Ochieng, a biology and chemistry teacher of Obuolo Secondary in Kisumu East, formerly teaching in Nyakacha and formerly also Bishop Abiero Shaurimoyo, was brutally murdered, strangled to death by alleged boyfriend at a Boch Center in Nyakacha sub-county. The postmortem reports that came out shows that she was strangled. There was no cut of any way. She was strangled. She died due to lack of oxygen very early in the morning. The husband was beaten by the irate mob and residents of Oboch and was saved by the police. He was rushed to Nyabondo and transferred to Oginga Odinga. There has been social media reports that the murderer is dead. We want to refute that as Kupet Kisumu County and say that the alleged butcher of Brigid Amondi Ochieng is still fighting for his life at Nyaramongi Oginga Odinga Hospital. And we demand the police to ensure that justice is done in this murder.
We are saddened. We are mourning. I was there at the mortuary to see a colleague, a madam teacher, who has been butchered by a rogue husband. And it is not the first case. Masidachi, as has been said, a teacher at Thudiboro was butchered the same way. And we are wondering, is this something that is targeting teachers and nobody is taking action? If it was other professionals, we'll see placards, we'll see teachers moving across, we'll see members moving across, and for the teachers.
It is disturbing that we are having a negative trend where the life of the teacher and the sanctity of the life of the teacher is at stake. Because it is not the first time that we are losing a colleague in the hands of criminals, and not much has been done by the security apparatus to apprehend the culprits and bring them to book the day. So as we gather here today, again, we are mourning our departed dear Bridget Amondi. We say that we need to respect the life of the teacher because no nation can survive and can develop without the teacher. A teacher's input is paramount in building the society. But the moment we trash the life of the teacher and we take them for granted, then I think we are getting it wrong.
Kwale County Governor Fatuma Achani has asked ODM leader Raila Odinga to apologize within 7 days due to allegations that the leader made remarks indicating that the governor is a spouse to the Cabinet Secretary for Mines, Salim Mvurya. Through a statement sent to the media by the spokesperson of the Kwale County government, Nikki Gitonga, Governor Achani has mentioned Odinga's statement is oppressing the leadership of women in the country and promoting gender injustice. Likewise, religious leaders and activists in the county have criticized Odinga's remarks, saying they were aimed at undermining Achani's marriage and causing conflict in the families of the governor and the CS Mvurya.
Sasa nimwambia wale jamaa ile fununu nasikia, manake mimi niko na sikio pande hii. Nasikia wanasema ati wewe unamwingia pande ile sana. Kwa hiyo mama unamkaribe yeye sana na unajua wewe ni bibi ya Mvurya.
Tunasema kwamba sisi viongozi wa kidini, mkono wa sheria utumike. Wale ambao wanasimamia uadilifu katika sheria, sisi tunasema alilotamka ni hate speech. Kwa nini amtukane mama? Sisi Waislamu tunajua kwamba dini yetu inatupa muongozo kwamba tuheshimu wanawake.
Alafu tena tunasema mambo aliyosema Raila jana, alitumia mambo na GBV. Ametunyanyasa sisi wanawake. Kwa nini nazungumza mambo yale akiwa ndani ya Kwale County? Yeye tunamheshimu na yeye tuheshimu wanawake. Ametudhalilisha wanawake wote na tuko na uchungu.
Watu wakija Kwale wauze sera zao, wasiingilie personalities. Marriage ya mama inahusu nini siasa za ODM? Marriage ya mama inatoka wapi na siasa za ODM? Tulihuzunishwa na jambo hilo. Kama kiongozi ambaye ni wa kitaifa, si vema kuanza kuingilia ndoa za watu.
Ni maamuzi ya Kwale County kwa waume, kina mama na vijana na watoto ambao wana kura zao, ambao walienuka kenda kampigia. Kwa hivyo Fatuma Achani ni maamuzi ya Kwale County.
Hatutaruhusu kama wanaharakati wa kijamii, bila kuegemea mrengo wote wa kisiasa, wa kijinsia ama wa kinamna yoyote ule, kuruhusu matamshi ambayo wakati wa uchaguzi wa 2022 kumradhi, yalikuwa ni miongoni wa maneno ambayo yalileta mshawasho.
It was a blow for some of residents who live in the National Housing Complex in Changamwe after their houses were moved, with demolitions work starting for the government project to build affordable housing units. John Karanja, who is in charge of the construction activities of the houses within the coastal region, has explained that they have already given the citizens a 1-month vacating notice before the demolitions begin. Similarly, some of the refugees have been able to give their complaints by denouncing how they were evicted at dawn and that they await the court's decision on the petition they submitted to the court.
Mimi ni mmoja wa wale viongozi, pia ni mkaaji hapa National Housing. Na hakika leo ni siku mbaya sana ambayo tumeamka na maaskari wamejaa kila mahali, tunapomolewa manyumba, sababu wenyewe hatuelewi, kwa sababu wenyewe watu walienda kotini, koti tasema status quo remain. Hiyo ni kumaanisha kwamba tuendelee kwanza mpaka koti itakapoamua vile itakavyoamua. Lakini upande ule wa serikali wanatuambia kwamba wako na court order ambao wanasema imewaruhusu kufanya uamuzi huu. Sisi hatukatai kama ni mambo ya kubomoa manyumba, lakini kwa utaratibu, kwa ile njia ya kibinadamu. Na tunasema hapa wali ni process ambayo imeanza kitambo. Na tumekuwa na stakeholders meeting, tumekuwa na mheshimiwa mbunge wetu ambao hata kwa sasa yuko site, MC wetu tumekuwa naye kwa site, tuko naye, na pia hata county commissioners wamekuwa involved kwa hii maneno
kusimamia affordable housing market. Na kwa sasa siku ya leo tuko hapa kuleta contractor one of our sites hapa Changamwe. Kuanzia asubuhi tumemobilize contractor ndio waweze kuchukua hii site ambayo alikuwa na changamoto kidogo kuchukua, kwa sababu kulikuwa na watu wawili watatu ambao hawakuwa wamepeana nafasi ya.
Stakeholders in the environment and transport sector in Mombasa have started a campaign against the use of clean energy as one of the ways to preserve a safe environment. Led by the CEC for Transport in Mombasa, Dan Manyala, they have supported the consideration of transport that uses electricity and solar radiation and the launch of bicycle transport in the center of the cities to reduce carbon emissions from vehicles that use petrol or diesel. However, they have pushed for more incentives for residents to accept new environmental protection systems to provide clean air.
Tunajaribu sana encourage zile use of clean energy means of transport. Sana tunajaribu kuhakikisha kwa hatuna sehemu za kutosha za pedestrian ama wale watembeaji wa miguu, na tumejaribu pia kukama na ideas kama zile cycling lanes. Mfumo wa usafiri inachangia pakubwa sana kwa uchafuaji wa mazingira, kwa sababu baadhi ya means of transport ama mfumo wa usafiri, tukiangalia magari, tukiangalia ama tuktuk ama pikipiki, zile zenye tuko nazo sasa hivi ni zile za
lazima tusukume watu kufanya ubunifu katika masala haya, kama vile tumeona baadhi ya bunifu ambazo zinatumia sola katika ile hali ya kupika ama kuhifadhi, kutengeza freezer ama kuchemsha zile sausage ambazo ziko barabarani. So pia ni fursa kuambia vijana, kuambia wakazi wa Kenya ni vipi tunaweza tumia njia bunifu ku incorporate ile clean energy ili tuwe na sisi tunatoa mchango wetu katika kuhifadhi mazingira.
What we do is we want to eliminate the unit to use charcoal entirely, and pia tunawasaidia wachuuzi ambao already they are using the charcoal and they have their own trolleys, so hata wao tunashirikiana nao kutumia their trolleys.
Head teacher of St. Mary's Yala Secondary School, Victor Makanda, has welcomed the new CBC education curriculum to be developed in secondary schools. Talking to the press in his office on Friday, Makanda has mentioned that the system will benefit students in general through arts, science, and compulsory. However, Makanda has thanked the former students of the famous Yoba School for continuing to...
Personally, we believe in holistic growth in academics, which is our core function and co-curriculum. And this is actually in line with the new curriculum that is coming called CBC. And I believe when the time comes, and I'm happy the government is proposing bringing CBC to high school, our school will have the 3 pathways. Sports and art will be one of them, apart from STEM and social sciences. The support we get from our parents. This school currently has around 2,800 boys, including Form 1 who are around 780 by today. The parents still have confidence in St. Mary's School Yala. They have continued supporting us in all aspects by paying fees in time, by supporting our programs in various ways, visiting and wishing us well. I also want to appreciate the role played by Yoba, which is Yala Old Boys Association, which has been very supportive in academics by awarding our top students. Last year they did award our students to a tune of 800,000. And they gave rugby sports equipment worth 100,000.
Now to some sports news, which is a big blow to Liverpool fans. Jurgen Klopp has announced that he will leave Liverpool at the end of the season after 9 years in charge. Klopp has won 6 trophies with Liverpool, including the Premier League title in 2020 and the Champions League trophy the year before. Liverpool currently lead the Premier League table and reached the Carabao Cup final in midweek, while they are still in the Europa League and the FA Cup. Well, that is where we wrap our night's bulletin right here on EBN Weekend Edition. Thank you for your lovely company. We hope that you're up to date with what is making headlines across the country. Now, tomorrow is March 27th. We're expecting what they say total shutdown KE and protests across various parts of the country over the rising cases of femicide. We're expecting protests in Nairobi, in Mombasa, and Kisumu, and other regions that will follow suit as well. So that is the biggest news headline maker on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and we'll be keeping tabs with that and bringing you the latest details regarding that. That's it for tonight. I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend ahead.